Hey guys, Zedd here, bringing you another Xianghua video. This one specifically goes in conjunction with my written Xianghua guide. So, this is a video Xianghua guide, or you can call it a primer if you will. There's nothing terribly advanced that's going to be talked about today or written in the guide, but it is information that I do believe is critical to know for at least decent or higher level competitive Xianghua play. At the very least, it gets you started and it gives you all the groundwork. It lays the groundwork and gives you the tools you need to get to that higher level of Xianghua gameplay. In this video, we're going to be talking about just Xianghua, of course, just as a character. I'm going to go over her strengths, her weaknesses. I'm going to go through the entire moves list and give it a rating of good, bad, or okay, and talk about maybe applications of that move, whether I think the move is good or in my top 10 or not, which is in the written document. We're going to go over the offense, the neutral, the defense. I'm going to very briefly go through her matchups, but it is something that I do believe is a 5-5 for her, plus or minus 1. So there's not much to talk about without getting too specific. And then lastly, I'll just try to add any other thoughts that I may or may not have or things I may have missed. But again, as a reminder, this was built with the intention of reading the written guide alongside the video or instead of the video, but you will notice there are pieces missing out of both that you will need the other to get. I think I've made that point clear. Let's just get right on with it. Okay, so Xianghua is, at least by my description, a poke-based mix-up heavy character who is just exceptional at whittling down the opponent with her jabs, as she's very fast and very safe. Most of her damage comes from either launchers or 50-50 mix-ups, not so much her pokes. So you very much need to play hit and run, very mosquito damage, and kind of play the frame game with her. That's kind of the general game plan for her. With that said, it is quite hard for her to pose a comeback because of the fact that for every 10 hits she did to you, that's 3 or 5 hits from, a character like your Maxis, your Siegfrieds, your Nightmares, Mitsurugi, things like that, right? She doesn't really have the damage to mount a good comeback. Her strengths are not only limited to, but include a strong neutral game, a very strong mix-up game, of course. She is one of the few characters who actually has fully or more than one safe launcher, and that is of course with full crouch 3B and 2-2B. She has what's considered the best sidestep in the game in terms of speed and distance moved, which is always a strong tool. She has some of the fastest, safest jabs in the game. She's incredibly difficult to punish as she's not very negative. She has an I-10 move with 5 AA. She's one of the few characters who does. Her critical edge is I-12, which is the fastest in the game, and she has one of the highest ring out potentials of the entire cast. And to top it all off, she is one of, I believe, 2, maybe 3, but 2 characters that actually has crouching throws, which is a pretty big deal. Weaknesses, again, include but are not limited to very low damage compared to the rest of the cast, only gets solid damage off of mix-ups or launchers. She severely lacks any decent ranged options, and of course alongside that damage she struggles to actually deal guard damage, which means that she has a difficult time actually breaking or getting your guard in the red. She doesn't really have a hard time breaking it once it's in the red, as she has access to some good moves for that. However, it is hard for her to get you there in the first place. And lastly, I do believe that her soul charge is rather weak. It doesn't really give her a new element to her game plan, whether it's offensive, defensive, or neutral. It doesn't really make her OP. It doesn't really do anything other than give her extra damage. And that, I mean, damage isn't really what Xianghua needs. So I kind of wish her soul charge would have given her something a little more unique or a new element to the game plan. Just as an example, you look at Valdo, he gets a completely new stance. You look at Cervantes, you look at Grow, they just get new follow-ups. Xianghua doesn't really get follow-ups on the moves you need them. But I'll get more into that when we get there. Alright, let's get into the matchup section here real quick. Basically how this is going to work is I'm just going to go through the entire roster and kind of say good, bad, even on the matchup. Um, Again, I do believe this character is a 4-6, a 6-4, or a 5-5 kind of character. I do not believe she has a 7-3 or a 3-7 matchup in the entire game. So, starting with Siegfried, I think this is a 6-4 in Xianghua's favor. She has the speed to contest him. She has the auto GI lethal hits that work very well against a lot of his can strings, and she has the ability to punish most of his stance moves on block, which is very good. Zess Lamel, I think this is a 5-5. They both kind of have the same effective range. She cannot lethal hit his 2-hit strings if he does them right away without charging them, which is very interesting as they kind of jail you into force block. Interesting concept. His kicks aren't bad, and of course a character with good kicks is a bit of a threat to Xianghua as she cannot auto-GI them. Overall, 5-5, equal range. Zaslamal also kind of suffers in the damage department and is also a little mix-up heavy, so they are similar in that regard, but again, 5-5. Nightmare, I think this is actually a 5-5 as well. What Nightmare has over Xianghua is range, but what Xianghua has over Nightmare is very, very, very good lows. And of course, lows beat armor attacks, so therefore Xianghua has the ability to mitigate Nightmare's Night Terror as well as his critical edge. Therefore, he doesn't want a Soul Charge, he doesn't want a critical edge, he doesn't want to use 6A, 6K, or 6B, and you're really limiting Nightmare's kit. Again, same with Siegfried, she can kind of punish everything. As well, I think is Xianghua's best matchup, but again, still a 6-4. The reason I think this is because post-nerf as well doesn't really have the pushback with 6AA or 6B as he used to in Axe form. He has -8 frame startup on all of his stance moves that he is not already part of. So for example, if I'm in Axe mode, my fastest move is 16 frames, but if I try to use a sword attack, it's going to be 8 frames slower, which it would be an 18 frame 5AA. So Xianghua has the ability to poke Aswell out of everything, punish him for almost everything, and to top it all off, if an Aswell loves to sit in Axe as most do, she has the ability to get free lethal hit auto GIs all day long. Plus, her while rising moves are exceptional, so if an Aswell decides to start using 6BA, which is the axe lunge into the spinning spear, she can reactively duck the A, while rising B, or while rising full crouch 3B. Pardon me, that didn't make sense. Full crouch 3B and free damage. Ivy, I think, is actually Xianghua's worst matchup, but again, I think that's only a 4-6 in the Ivy's favor. Reason being is her knockback is actually a problem, her zoning is actually good, and Xianghua has a bit of a tricky time lethal hitting some of these moves because of the weird way that a lot of them work. You know, she's got some movement options in there, she's got lows that turn into mids. She's a very finicky character when it comes to GIing and reverse sledging just in general, and I think that is by design. So overall, I think Ivy takes the cake with pardon me, a 4-6 in Ivy's favor. But again, the Xianghua can absolutely win the match. There is no doubt about that in my mind. Astaroth, I actually love this matchup so much because it's just grabs, 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 grabs. I actually think this is a 5-5 as well. Yes, Astaroth has knockback like Ivy. Yes, he has the range like Siegfried. However, Xianghua can also jab him out of everything. Her lows are very good, so again, his armor is kind of null and void. Pardon me. She also has the ability to lethal hit a lot of his best moves. For example, 2-2B. Astaroth loves to throw that out in neutral. It's his sidestep, or it's his launcher. He just swings his axe and it's huge knockback, but guess what? It's a really, really free 6A plus B for the Xianghua. This is a 5-5. I love this matchup. It's so much fun. Sophidia, again, 5-5. Why? They're both fast. They're both relatively safe. Yes, Sophidia 236B and 668 can be punished by Xianghua, but she has other buttons to contest. They're both close range. Again, I love this matchup. It's just a slugfest. It truly is a slugfest. Really a lot of fun to play. It's a very honest game. I very much enjoy it, but again, truly 5-5. I think either character can win here. No doubt in my mind. Maxi matchup, I actually put 6-4 in favor of Xianghua. I say this from experience as one of my main scrim partners is a Maxi player, and One of Xianghua's greatest tools against Maxi is her 4-4B. It stuffs a lot of his stance options, which forces him to manual GI, but in some instances, the manual GI will be too fast that the 4-4B will still hit, or vice versa, it'll be too slow, the 4-4B will still hit. It's a very powerful tool. That alongside her just her frames in general, turns out that I-10s can just swat Maxi out of a lot of his stance transitions, so her 5AA actually beats a lot of his transitions into horizontal GI, which is insane. So that is something you do want to take advantage of in this case. So again, 6-4 in the favor of Xianghua. Excuse me. Xianghua mirror, I mean, really, what else is there to say about a mirror? 5-5. It's really annoying because you both know you're super safe. No one ever lands a hit. No one ever lands a combo. Like, that's going to happen. And it really just comes down to just kidding, just kidding, just kidding, grab, 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 just kidding, grab, grab, grab. 5-5, super boring. I hate it. Yoshimitsu, again, 5-5. Yoshi's lows do more damage than Xianghua's, but they're very, very unsafe. So Yoshi has to be aware of this and be careful with the lows he uses against a Xianghua. Again, he also has an I-10. He also has pretty good pokes, pretty good jabs. But I will say that Xianghua's 4-4B is very effective against Yoshimitsu, as well as he actually is a relatively short-range character, even though he has just a regular-sized sword, which is interesting. So 4-4B, 6A plus B lethal hit are very strong against Yoshi, and you can still jab trade him. But again, he's not totally out of the game. They're both solid characters. 5-5. Kilik, again, 5-5. Probably no surprise here in terms of lore, but Kilik has the ability to keep Xianghua guessing about what kind of GI she wants to use. A lot of his horizontal vertical options are quite fast, not in the sense that they're unreactable, but in the sense that it's either a vertical mid or it's going to be a horizontal low, things like that. And so Xianghua not only has to guess low and vertical, but she also has to guess horizontal. So the GIs don't really gain any value here. The other trouble is Kilik's Oki game isn't great, so you don't really see a lot of Kilik's challenging a grounded opponent. And grounded state is very good for Xianghua, both with Crybaby and strong while rising moves. So this is a bit of an issue, simply because the opponent is respecting that you have good options, therefore he is letting you reset neutral quite frequently. So you'll notice in this matchup it's a lot of just swinging back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's kind of dull, actually. But again, 5-5. Grow, again, 5-5. He has a lot of sidestepping moves. Xianghua has a lot of powerful vertical attacks. However, her horizontals are not a joke either. She does have the luxury of having powerful while-rising attacks, so when you do block a grow stance, no charge A, which is his helicopter low, if he doesn't charge it, it's quite negative, so Xianghua does get a very, very powerful punish there. Past that, honestly, she can jab him out of most stuff, but Grow is a relatively honest character, much like Sophitia in that regard. So again, 5-5. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of neutral. Grow's game plan is very dry poke-based, whereas Xianghua is poke with a little bit of rushdown sauced in there. So it is quite a good matchup in general, as in fun. Cervantes, I gotta say that I want to say it's 6-4 in Xianghua's favor, but I am thinking it's 5-5. I would really... I've played against many Cervanteses of varying skills, and I have one at my locals, and I have to say that at this point, Cervantes feels like a 6-4. However, I do feel it would be a little ignorant of me to say it's strictly the matchup and not my matchup knowledge. I do think that I know a lot about this character, so it's very easy for me to beat a Cervantes. However, I do think it's still a real 6-4, my knowledge aside. And that's because he is very negative, he's very risky, and he doesn't really have the same kind of keep out that you would need to deal with the Xianghua. So she has the ability to swat him out of a lot of stuff. And you can auto GI lethal hit his IGDR, which is huge. It's a very big deal, so Cervantes can just really never use that button. And his 3B is 20 frames, I believe. So Xianghua doesn't have a single move that's launch punishable by Cervantes. So he really has to go digging for those whiff punishes. I do think this is 6-4, but again, I could be incorrect. But if I am, it's 5-5 at worst for both characters. Tira, again, truly 5-5. Tira isn't the most unsafe character, or at least she can choose to be safe. Just depends on what stance she's in. I do have to say that I think Xianghua destroys Jolly's stance just in general. However, Gloomy stance destroys Xianghua, which is an interesting little dynamic. An interesting little dynamic to deal with, but I do think it's true. And I do have to say it's 5-5. However, Jolly is 6-4 to Xianghua. Gloomy is 4-6 to Tira. And I could get into that more at a different video, as it is quite interesting, but 5-5. Taki, again, I actually think this is 5-5, and I say that because one of her biggest weaknesses is, of course, getting in and staying in. But Ataki can choose to be safe again, but some of her best moves are unsafe, and Xianghua can, of course, punish them. However, Taki has the frames and the ability to contest Xianghua in the jab trade, and that is one of Taki's better strengths. Is she has really, really good startup frames on her moves, but she's a little negative. So she pretty much goes once and you lose her turn unless she, of course, cancels into possession, which is quite strong for Xianghua. Taki's ability to deal chip damage is actually a pretty big deal. Xianghua's one of her greatest weaknesses is the inability to mount a comeback. And in Taki's case, let's say you land one combo against a Xianghua, and now you're beating on her with all your chip attacks. Well, the Xianghua has now taken more damage than anticipated, so now it's even harder. So to play well against a Taki as Xianghua, you really got to bring the pain to Taki. You can't let her get going, otherwise you're just going to keep losing your life bar. Now, in most characters' cases, it's not the end of the world, but in Xianghua's case, it is. And likewise, with Taki, the best way to deal with a Xianghua is to, again, keep using those chip attacks, keep using the purple sword. You will eventually force the Xianghua into a situation where she needs to land a launching combo or a wall combo or a ring out. She cannot just win with pokes. So overall, 5-5. I think both characters could take the game, but if both characters are aware of how the other needs to approach the matchup, it would be a very interesting game to watch. I don't play against too many Takis, but the couple that I do that are really solid, this is usually how the games go. Jerry of the River, 5-5. Really, what is there to say about Geralt? He doesn't really have anything to talk about. Pretty honest, very defensive in nature, so Xianghua does get the freedom to open up with a lot of mix-up opportunities, even if they're unsafe. Open up with a lot of jabs, even if it's not her turn. Things of that nature. Overall, 5-5. Rugi, yikes. Rugi is an interesting one. But I have to say, I do believe it's a 5-5, although I personally struggle a little bit in this matchup. So from a personal perspective, I think it's 4-6 in the favor of Rugi, but I do think that, again, this is a 5-5. Both characters are very solid. They're very fundamental. Really, these two characters have been kind of going back and forth ever since the dawn of time in Soulcalibur, and I don't really think that's changing anytime soon. It's a bit tricky to lethal hit a Rugi, as he can cancel a lot of his stuff, or he can transition into other things. And of course, 1KB is a very strong move. I do think it goes 5-5. Talim, I actually think this is a 6-4 in the favor of Xianghua. Talim's, I'll call it a gimmick, if you will, is her speed and mobility. And of course, her soul charge is very scary. But speed and mobility, oh look, you're playing Xianghua, I can do that too, right? So Xianghua has the ability to jab Talim out of a lot of her stance transitions. If a Talim feels inclined to keep reversal edge spamming, Xianghua has the option of a lethal hit on that, off of both A plus B, A plus B6, as well as SXS, A plus B. So she has options to deal with the reversal edge. But furthermore, Xianghua's 4-4B will again demolish, absolutely destroy this matchup. It's disgusting. So spam 4-4B and Crybaby, and you'll win the game against a Talon. That's the truth. So 6-4 in the side of Xianghua. Songmina, again, I want to say this is 4-6 in the favor of Songmina. Landing correct 6As and 1Bs by the Songmina is a good way to keep Xianghua out. Xianghua, of course, struggles to deal with life deficit, and Songmina, all she has to do is hit one launcher. Now you're pushing me across the whole screen again. But not only that, Songmina does insane guard damage, so now the Xianghua has to not only worry about getting hit by your launchers, getting in, but now she has to worry about her guard probably breaking by round 2 or 3. And if not once in the game for sure, twice, maybe, or if not twice in the game for sure, once will happen. So for very similar reasons as IV, I think this is a 4-6, but again, it could go either way at the end of the day. If Xianghua gets in, it's hard for Sungmi to get her out, so there is that. Yeah, 4-6 in Sungmina's favor. Raf, Raf is such a strong character, but I do think Xianghua goes toe-to-toe with him specifically. Mostly due to the fact that the Xianghua has the ability to force the Raf to actually start using some horizontals. Otherwise, Xianghua is going to get the freest amount of 6A plus Bs that she's ever had in her entire life, as Raf is very vertical heavy. But also, they both have I-10s, so this is an interesting matchup. 4-4B actually wrecks a lot of Raf's stanced options, which is great. So that is a tool that a lot of players should be using. 4-4B plus K on Xianghua is also very good if Raf is just approaching you. Her 2-2B is also good because, again, a sidestep move. So she has options to deal with Raf, but of course, at least at the time of this video, Raf is just such a strong character that it's hard to say that he can go down in a matchup. But again, I think this is 5-5. I don't think that's going to change posts or buffs or nerfs to either of these characters. 5-5. It's actually a lot of fun, a lot of jab trading, a lot of frame data. Playing against high-skilled Rafs as a high-skilled Xianghua, in my opinion, is a lot of fun, especially if we both understand the frame data. Although, originally I thought this was a 4-6 in the favor of Valdo, because strangely enough, Xianghua's reversal edge will actually whiff on Valdo quite a few times when he's doing his Mantis mix-ups. However, I tried to learn Valdo, and what I learned was that everything outside of Mantis is, like in terms of frame data anyway, strictly speaking frames, isn't the best. He's not the fastest character, he's not the slowest character, but he's also not the safest nor the unsafest character. So what I noticed was that as Xianghua, you're actually able to interrupt a lot of Valdo's stuff. He gets a lot of combos off of natural hit combos, or he gets, a lot of natural hit combos. He doesn't need to fish for counter hits. With that said, his combo damage isn't terribly high. It's more like he just puts you in a mix-up situation many times. Which leads me into my next point. This matchup is just loaded with mix-ups, left, right, and center. It really is a blast, again, to play against a good one. Because you both know both of your game plan is to just keep going. However, Xianghua fares much better on defense. 4-4B is a fantastic solution to his Mantis Crawl, other than 6-6, and even then, it can sometimes jab him out of the dash, which is awesome. So again, 5-5, although previously I would have said 4-6 in the favor of Aldo, but now that I'm a little more educated on the matchup, I do think it's 5-5. And last, 2B. 2B is interesting. She is interesting to say the least. But again, I'm going to have to go with a 5-5 here, because 2B has the option to keep Xianghua out quite heavily, but as soon as that 2B starts dancing at you, the Xianghua has a lot of strong options, be it RE or 5B. She has ways to deal with 2B up close. 2B is also quite a negative character, quite a punishable character. And of course, Xianghua is one of the very few characters in the game who has a true punish to every single move that is punishable. Whether that's I-10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, it doesn't matter. Xianghua has something. And 2B the 2B player absolutely must keep that in mind, otherwise she will die. Xianghua is unique in that regard, but again, playing a character like 2B, who's quite negative, it's something the 2B must keep in mind. If kept in mind and played a little more defensive, a little more poke-based with or a keep-out, pardon me, with 2B, I think that's her best chance of winning this matchup. Again, 5-5, a lot of fun. If the 2B starts going aggro, it's 4-6 in Xianghua's favor. Okay. So, next up, we'll talk about I kind of want to talk about her game plan first. I want to do the moves list last because it's going to be quite a large portion of the video. So, we're going to talk about the offensive game plan here. Xianghua's one of her greatest offensive strengths is, of course, her mix-up game. And the pokes as well, but that'll be talked about a bit in neutral. Her mix-ups are... A lot of them are unsafe transitions, so you really need to be careful with what you're doing. However, two of her best mix-up tools that a Xianghua player can use very frequently are 4B and its follow-ups, which are 4BB and 4BA. One is a mid, one is a low, and one can be stepped and one cannot. So if you start flexing this option, players might start stepping it or blocking low. If that's the case, you do this. You'll notice that neither are natural combos though, so on regular hit, so you do have to kind of just sauce one or both of these in. 4BA is only -10, whereas 4BB is -12. So you just got to keep that in mind when you're playing against your opponent. The other mix-up option that she has that is very powerful, and this is kind of the bulk of her offensive game, at least, again, the way I play the character, is 1A. So 1A is a 28 frame low. It's -16 on block, so it's not, it's nothing special. What's special is when you cancel it. So who would have thought that a back turn crouching state would actually be a mix-up? I certainly didn't. So you have options here. You can choose to either let it rip, of course. You can choose to stay crouched like this, which will give you the option of back turned to B plus K, which is this, which is the same, very similar move to 1K. You have the option of just doing B plus K, which is this, and that's a mid. Notice that's a mid, and this is a low. Or you have the option of just grabbing low. If your opponent goes to flex and either block this, or if you've been conditioning them to respect this low, then they might just continue to block that. If they aren't respecting that, then you start flexing things like this, right, into a grab, or just this into 6KA. You can do, either direction grab off of this, right, this, that, wait, grab, right? So 1A slide G, or just 1AG, is a sick mix-up. You can stay standing when you do this, absolutely, don't get me wrong, but I find it even more of a threat to just stay crouching, because the opponent, for whatever reason, seems to think that you're going to do a low because you're crouching. And I have just found personally that this gives me more correct reads and openings on my mix-up. But again, you don't need to do that. You can do everything from a back-turned standing state. That's totally fine. You don't need to stay crouching. I just choose to. Okay, so 1A slide G is exceptional. It's her primary mix-up tool that's actually usable. Now, some people might go, but Zedd, that entire thing isn't a hitbox. You can just be swatted. Yeah, you're right. But on Oki, this is a very powerful tool. And even in neutral, if your opponent is over-respecting or it's your turn, you just start flexing this. They're not going to react to this. You have all the time in the world to do what you want. It's that simple, really. And even if they do, you just immediately go into a grab, right? It's that simple. So 1A slide G, super good. Other than that, the thing with her offensive game is you just need to understand that having a low damage output means that it's important for you to gain an early life lead. So to do that, try not to take risks early on and just take every single punish you can get, even if it's just 5 AA. So if you're in doubt about your frame data or you're just picking up Xianghua, note that as long as your opponent isn't tech crouching, meaning you're crouching because of a move's finishing uh, animation, 5 AA is just, that is 18 damage for free, and depending on the move and the punish, you can even get AAB as a natural combo, so, or a counter hit combo, excuse me. So take advantage of this, right? This is 14 frames. This is really nice. And then even 3B, right? This is your 17 frame launcher, just free 46 damage, right? So the point is, use your AA, use your BB. If you're learning Xianghua and that's all you use, that is totally okay, right? That is totally okay. You hit this 5 times, that's 100 damage, right? So please take advantage of her free punishes. Again, conditioning is a huge part of Xianghua's game. Try to keep your opponent guessing on which throw you're going to use, be it back grab or forward grab. That goes for both the stance grabs as well as the crouching grabs. It's huge. Conditioning is something every player should be using, needs to be using, and I won't get too in depth with it in this video, otherwise it'll be hours and hours long. But the point is, try to keep your opponent guessing. That's the main takeaway here. Her lethal hit conditions, all of them, we'll talk a little more about it in the moves list section, but they're all pretty related to conditioning counter hits or baiting your opponent to do things, which is interesting, and it really does fit her gameplay. I'm very happy with the way the lethal hits were designed, but try to take advantage of them. And of course, some of the more common ones that you see are players in GI battles. They'll use the A+B or the A+B6. You could call it a mix-up, but I won't call that a mix-up. But they'll use these for their lethal hit, or of course you have your auto GIs on 2 A+B, 4 A+B, and 6 A+B. Those are also really common ones. Another one I personally like to use a lot is Playful Xia Shang stance, or PXS stance, which is crouching like this, or AOP from Xiaoyu and Tekken, as a lot of players will call it. I use this into the kick. That lethal hit happens when you duck a high. So that's another common one as well. And lastly, if you're gonna use her auto GIs, just be mindful that this is -12 and it is sidesteppable. This is -12 as well, and it has a little bit of a backstep. I can tell you from experience that the first and or second hit of this will whiff. Sometimes randomly, you won't even know. There are times you hit the auto GI, the first hit whiffs, the second hit hits, and that's all you get because, well, reasons. So I've just kind of stopped using this move altogether, unless I'm this close to the opponent and I know they're just gonna AA me, then I'll use it, but other than that, that's that. However, 6A+B is just a great move, period. This is a 22 frame startup, so it's not horrible. It's only -10 on block. It's a horizontal into a vertical, mid-mid, so it catches steps. It's actually a tech jump and a tech duck at the last frame or 2, I believe. Last 2 or 3 frames. But the fact that it has a tech jump makes it a great move, because in theory, if you just kind of use it from this range where you whiff the horizontal and the opponent, let's say, goes to 2KU or something, or 1AU or whatever, you're just going to jump it. It's an excellent move just by itself. I very much encourage Xianghua players to use this button just as a button, but also, of course, to try to lethal hit verticals, which are easier moves to lethal hit because they're a little more telegraphed, they're a little more obvious, and if you're at far range, there's not a lot of horizontals that are going to hit you in the game that you can't just duck anyway, just because of spacing. So the point I'm trying to make is a lot of characters will try to lunge at you with verticals from distances like this, and that's why you can just go ting, boom, free combo, right? And that kind of sums up her offensive game plan in a nutshell. Search for punishes, go for mix-ups, and be careful with your lethal hits, but go for them if you're confident. Moving on to her neutral game. It kind of coincides with the offensive game plan, but the gist of it is take advantage of the fact that you have a punish for everything. You have a powerful while rising stance, you have a powerful back turn stance, right, with the ability to 2B plus K into a grab mix-up. You have some of the fastest pokes, no, you have the fastest pokes in the game, 12 frame, 10 frame, right, 16 frame launcher into wall combo, boom, boom, right, etc. Things of that nature. Insta full crouch 3B, right? This is a technique that good Xianghua players will use all the time, right? Just crap like this is very important to good Xianghua play, and it's important that you use it. And her neutral game is basically fishing for launchers, punishing, or just jab trading, and she is exceptional at all three of those things. The defensive game plan with Xianghua is honestly, again, kind of the same thing as neutral, but when you're on your back foot, try to understand and remember that you have these frames, you have the speed, and you have the elusiveness to get out of a sticky situation. So, what I mean is, a Talem's pressuring you down, a Taki, a Maxi, a Siegfried, a Nightmare, whatever. A stance-heavy rushdown character is beating you down and you don't know what to do. Remember that this, pardon me, this is 15 frames. This is 12 frames. Like, this is huge, right? Or if you're nervous about standing back up and you think they're going to block, just go for a wall rising A, but then don't follow up, right? Or finish it through if you want to for the natural combo. So take advantage of the fact that you can interrupt your opponent's game plan easily. 4B, great way to do that. It's a 12 frame thrusting vertical attack. Very strong, and it has good follow-ups. And on counter hit, natural combo. So that's that. Of course, there's AA. There's her 3K, which is 14 frames. There's 6KA, which is 16 frames, which can also wall splat, might I add, into a grab. Right? So stuff like that. What else? She has a 16 frame 2K, so it's definitely not the best 2K, but it's a 2K nonetheless. 12 frame special low 2A. It's very stubby. It's very stubby, so be careful. But very, very, very fast. Yeah, so don't take the pressure as Xianghua. If you're taking the pressure as Xianghua, that's on you. That's not on them. You need to be stuffing your opponent's options, be it 4B, 5AA, 2B, 3K, you name it. The list goes on. The list truly goes on. And lastly, I personally never use her soul charge button defense. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say never. I rarely use her soul charge, period, but I even more rarely use it as a get off me button. And the reason why is I don't feel like her soul charge gains a lot of mileage. I think that her soul charge doesn't really give her anything new. It doesn't really add anything. A lot of her soul charge moves are kind of meh, but I'm not going to get into that right now. I'll get into that in the moves list section when we go through it. Point being, she doesn't need to use this as a get off me button because she has frames, auto GIs, and one of the best sidesteps in the game, or the best sidestep in the game, tied with a few other characters as well. So use your movement, use your punish tools, try to avoid using this defensively as Xianghua. Again, I reiterate, as Xianghua, I don't think you need to use this as a get off me button. I don't feel it's necessary on Xianghua. Aggressively, sure, whatever. Like if you want to do this, right? If you like her soul charge, that's fine, right? I don't personally, but to each their own. So just stuff like that, keep in mind. Lastly, with her defensive game plan, please don't forget about the fact that her critical edge is I-12, or yeah, and this will allow you to just basically stuff everything, right? Your opponent has an opening, oh, you know, critical edge, stuff like that. But also, don't forget about Crybaby. This thing is, it's awkward, right? It's very awkward. It's super, super negative. Super negative. It's minus 30, I believe, on block, and it's still minus on hit. I think it's minus 18 or 20 on hit. Something ridiculous. However, she has, or it's 6-frame startup. It's very fast. The hitbox is super wonky. It's a little vertical, but it's not very wide. So, you know, this will hit the other Xianghua's legs, but if she was standing beside me, I'd probably whiff. Point is, this move, when used correctly and at the perfect time, I use it a lot when my back's to the wall and I'm on the ground, can completely shut down and stuff your opponent's Oki game plan. And because most fighting games have a buffer system, you might actually get the opponent to use a button they don't want to use, and that's when you're going, boom, let's go, right? So Crybaby, it's a bit of a meme, but trust me, it's actually a good attack. I promise you. When used correctly and sparingly, it's a very good button. So do not forget about this, and your opponent probably will not forget about it, as most players know that Xianghua's Crybaby is called Crybaby. It's not even called Crybaby, pardon me, but everyone calls it that. That's how iconic it is, and it cannot be underestimated. All right, and for our last segment here, we're just gonna go through the moves list. I'm gonna say either it's good, it's bad, it's okay. Maybe give a bit of a little bit of tidbit advice on a move. Maybe talk about why I use a move, things like that. So here we go. This is the last bulk of the whole thing. Her 5AA is great. It's a 10-frame Punisher. I don't like AAA. It's a high mid. It's minus 8 on block, but it can be GI'd. I don't like this move at all. AAB, I love this move, even on block. It's still only minus 14. However, it's got a bit of pushback, and it is a counter hit natural combo. It's very strong. It's very fast, and it beats GI option as well. So I do like this. I use this a lot, and it does have the option to go into AAB4. I don't use this much, but the option is there if you're worried about a counter reversal edge from a stubby reversal edge, such as Siegfried or Maxi. AA hold, not the biggest fan. I don't use it much, simply because of the fact that it is just, it's not safe, right? But it is an option to go into SXS. It's not bad, it's not great. I never use this, but again, that's more of a personal thing. I know that Kayane, for example, the French Soulcalibur player, she uses this a good amount, more than I do. So I don't personally like this, but to each their own. Oh, and pardon me, I think this move is bad. I think this move is good. I think this move is whatever, so it's okay. I think this move is okay. On to 6AA. I think this sequence is bad, but just 6A by itself is fine. It's 14 frame step catcher. It's only minus 4 on block, so you really can't go wrong with just 6A. I rarely use the follow-up. I might use it once or twice to see if the opponent knows that it's the only thing she can do after it, as it's only minus 10 on block. Low risk, low reward. I don't go for it. 6A is great. 6AA, bad. 3AK, again, 3A, great move. Yeah, it's quite negative on block, but to block that you'd have to be crouching, and not a lot of characters have threatening while rising moves. So 3A, solid, and she can go into playful Shai Shang, PXS, which is good. But the K follow-up is garbage, unless you hit confirm the 3A into K, which is a true combo on counter hit. So 3A, good, 3AK, garbage. 3A2, I think this is a great sequence. I use this probably too much. Yeah, probably way too much. I love this so much. The PXS tech ducks literally almost everything. It techs highs, of course. It techs most mids that don't hit grounded. Actually, I think it techs every mid that doesn't hit grounded. So that's what makes it such a powerful tool. Soul thing, great. 2A, it's a 2A. It's great. 1A, we already talked about this. This is her key mix-up tool. This is a fantastic attack, arguably top 3, but it is on my top 10 list on the written guide, which you'll see over there if you go to it. This move, fantastic. And this, of course, coinciding with it, fantastic. 4AA, I think this move is bad. I I still use it though, here and there. I don't mind just a raw 4A for the GI and the amount of distance that Xianghua covers while using this move, I love. It's only -10 on block, so you can just use this as a bit of a get-in tool, and it's a horizontal mid and it walks her forward. So for that purpose, I use it, but I never use the A follow-up as it is duckable on block. So 4A, good. 4AA, bad. And I think that 4A hold is not good either. I don't think I've ever actually done this into someone who knows the matchup and ever gotten away with anything out of this stance, other than maybe K. So, yeah. Or crouching A, okay, whatever, it's 2A, it's good. Or crouching 3AA, I think that all of the follow-ups here are awful. The A hold, and the B hold, or the B follow-up, I think they're all trash. But while crouching 3A, pardon me, is not bad. It's technically like 20 frames or something like that, like 22, 24. But it's so fast. Like, how do you see this coming, right? Especially because Xianghua has a full crouch 3B option. That's a full launcher. It's her strongest launcher. You have to respect her full crouch 3B. And of course, the Xianghua player who knows that will also know that full crouch 3A is a mix-up opportunity to maybe force the opponent to start crouching and giving you those free full crouch 3B options. So, full crouch 3A, fantastic attack, but the follow-ups, garbage. While raising AA, it's very good. You can choose to just do one hit, you remain crouched, both hits, solid. It's only -8 on block. Jump A, okay, it's a jump attack. I've never used it. I don't plan to, I don't intend to, whatever. If you're going to use a jump move on Xianghua, just use jump B. It's, so I'm going to say it's okay. I don't think it's good or bad, it's just whatever. It's a move. Facing away A, okay, sure, whatever. It's a button. Facing away 2A, a slower 2A, it's a button. Moving on to vertical attacks, triple B, garbage. Triple or double BK, garbage. They're both sidesteppable, so this is literally not a mix-up, just sidestep. However, BB hold is slightly, I clarify, slightly better because of the fact that it if the opponent is sidestepping anyway, they can get behind the Xianghua, and the Xianghua doesn't have a ground or a back turn. Sorry, an option out of stance that will actually hit an opponent behind her. So either way you go, this whole sequence is just bad. I was using this way too much originally. Now I've completely cut it from my kit. I only use BB. I don't use these other options. I think they're terrible. So BB, very good, 14 frame, natural combo, but the follow-ups, garbage. B slide A, it tech jumps, I guess. It's 14 frames, I guess, so it says, but you know, or I'm sorry, B is 14 frames, but B slide A is I think it's like 28 or 30. So I mean, it's minus on block. I believe it's -10 or 12. So I mean, it's pretty bad. Don't use this. Just don't use this. If you want a tech jump move, use 22K. B slide K, very limited application, but useful. It can pick opponents up off the ground for little to no follow-up, depending on whether or not you're in soul charge. But what I like about this move is it is a guard breaker that scales very, very, very little. Meaning that if an opponent is flashing red and you use this and they block it, you're shattering the guard, and now you can get 6B plus K to critical edge for 110 damage. It's a very good move to break guard. Do not forget about this move. It's very good for that purpose alone. So because of that, I'm going to say it's a bad move, but it does have its place. 6BA and 6BB, very good move, and sequences. They recently nerfed these. This is now -10, and this is now, I believe, it's -10 as well, whereas previously this was completely safe. They nerfed the tracking on it, and they nerfed the damage on 6BA, so overall they actually nerfed these sequence, but it is still good, but use it sparingly, be careful, but it's still a good move. 6B4, and I think it's garbage. I've used it and hit it maybe once, ever. If you're going to do this, you might as well just commit to one of these, I gotta be honest. So this specific sequence, I don't think is very good. However, this sequence I use a good amount. I quite like this, and I think it's very good, and it opens up the PXS mix-up opportunity. And the lethal hit opportunity. Very good sequence. 3B, I mean, it's a 17 frame 3B. I mean, what is there more to say, right? It's really good. It's a good move. 2B, it's a 2B. I mean, really, again, what do you say about this? It's okay. 1B, garbage. Don't use this. 30 frame low, it sidesteps and tech ducks, but it's minus 18 on block, it's minus 2 on hit, so it's still not even your turn. And honestly, this thing whiffs against blocking opponents. I have seen it whiff against blocking opponents. And try to avoid using this move. Unless this is a situation where the tech, duck, and sidestep will win you the game with, like, use this as a round ender, if anything, because you're avoiding the opponent's move. Don't use it for any other reason. This move sucks, but again, has its place. 4BA and 4BB, as we talked about, they're solid. Oops. Yikes. Go back. There we go. 4BA is minus 10, 4BB is minus 12 on block, but still good moves to sauce in there. But even just 4B raw is also pretty darn good. Invites. While crouching B, it's the same as 2B. While crouching 3B is amazing. It's a straight upgrade from 3B. Leads to way higher damage. 17 frames, minus 9 on block, so it's not punishable. This is gross, and you can even insta full crouch it like so, which adds a few frames. While rising B, great move. Absolutely great move. It's 14 or 15 frame while rising. It leads to extra damage follow up on normal hit. This is really good. It's really good, and it's only minus 2 on block, so really laughing. Jump B, probably her best jump move of 9A, 9B, and 9K. I think this one's probably the best. It's okay, whatever. Facing away B, it's a move, sure. 2B, it's a move, sure, whatever. Kicks, 5K, 12 frame, sure, but why not just AA, honestly? It's okay, it's a move. K slide 6, this move is just silly, but it does wall splat, it can ring out, and you can actually get B slide K follow up for free, which is good. Yeah, so this move has its place, but I don't think it's very good, but it has its place, don't get me wrong. 6K A, typical combo ender. In neutral, just be careful, because if 6K is blocked, the A is duckable, so 6K by itself, not bad, it's minus 12. But if you can hit confirm the 6K into A, not bad. And it does go into BH8 stance as well, which, again, in neutral you don't really want to be doing, but the option is there for you if you so desire. If you're being real cheeky, you could even, you could go in like this, wall splat, launch. It's quite tricky. For sake of demonstration, I'll see if I can even get it, but it's quite hard. Yeah, so something like that, right? So it is an Oki situation that the opponent may fall for. That wasn't true. Like, that wasn't a real combo, but the option is there if the opponent's not ready. So stuff like that, right? Anyway. 3K, very fast, 14 frame, minus 8 on block, pretty solid. A little stubby though. I've whiffed this thing way more times than I'd like to admit, so just be careful. 2K, not bad, not great. It's a tech ducking move, sure. 1K is awesome. You can flex this into either the 1K-A, right? So 1K, 1K-A, 1K, 1K-A. And it's a bit of a low-mid mix-up. It's fantastic for ending the round. So 1K is great, 1K slide A is great. However, AA and B and the AA and K, not good. You can 1K AA and that's alright, I guess. But don't do the K or the B follow-ups. Just don't. Just don't use these. 4K, it's not that it's a bad move, it's just kind of got nerfed from past installments. But it does wall splat from quite a distance, and its ring out potential is there. You can also just do this. Or no, sorry, you... Wait a minute, strike that, reverse it. You used to be able to do that in Soulcalibur 5, which is what made it a little better, but you can't do that now, so it's not as good. But it can still splat, it can still ring out, whatever. You can still get guaranteed damage off of it, things like that. While crouching K, it's a 2K. While crouching 3K, it creates some space between you and the opponent, which is good. I actually use this probably a good amount, but it is minus 19 on block. Just be careful of that. But there's a good amount of space between you and the opponent. So I do use this here and there. The move is okay. However, the B follow-up and the B6 follow-up, I don't use those. And if I do, I'm going straight into this sequence, which is 3B, or full crouch 3K B 2 into the cancel. Even then, I use this probably more as a just to start confusing my opponent more than anything. I don't recommend you necessarily do that till you understand why you're doing that, but it can work at times. So this sequence is okay, and this sequence is the same thing, just a bit of a different timing. While rising KB, I don't typically use the B follow-up. If anything, I'll use this follow-up while rising K hold. But again, these are both not bad. Jump KK, I think this is terrible. It's used as combo filler in very specific situations where other combos will deal less damage, or if you want better Oki. But just raw, 9KK, not good. Same thing with this. You'll just don't use the 9KK. If you're gonna do this, just use 2k. It's a kick. It's a low kick. I actually hate her guard breaker. I think it's terrible. It's a high, it's a vertical, it's a thrust, it's obvious, it's 42 frames. I think it's terrible. But thankfully, she can choose to let it rip early or choose to cancel it altogether. So overall, the guard breaker itself is a bad move. I rarely use it, but it's a guard breaker. She only has access to, well, technically 3, but realistically only 1. So it's kind of her only choice. Which is actually why reversal edging or GIing a Xianghua is not a bad idea. If you know that the Xianghua is aware of the fact that their guard breaker is kind of meh. So, yeah. Yeah, not great. I don't really use any of these sequences ever. Her lethal hits, I'm just going to lump these all together. I think they're okay. However, I think 6A plus B is good by itself. Not much to say here that hasn't already been said. They're dangerous, they're risky, be careful, but they're not bad. E plus K, sure, it's a stance. I don't use this much, but it's not a bad get-in tool. This is a transition I use quite frequently on Oki, for the reason that B plus K can just be cancelled into while rising moves. So the opponent kind of has to respect it to a degree, anyway. So I use this quite a bit. This is just used in combos. I never use this raw, please don't. It's terrible raw, used for combos only. 3B plus K, now that the game has evolved since launch, this isn't really going to hit anybody, especially the K follow-up. It's a great ring out tool, don't get me wrong. Like, if you can hit this and ring someone out with it, all the power to you, right? If you can get this as a whiff punish ring out tool, do it. Absolutely, do it. But even then, your 3B could have done the same job for 3 frames faster, so... I like this move, but I do think it's bad. I don't use it anymore. Oh, well, I will say it's not terrible for breaking guard, though. Earthquake, I don't know. The quake itself is terrible. However, the cancel into stance is something, because there is a world where you constantly go into stance, but then you actually let it rip, and the opponent gets hit by it full combo or ring out. So, I don't want to call this a mix-up, but I guess it is. I guess. Tentative, I think these are both bad. This, I don't understand why you'd use this. I mean, it's not that it's a bad move, it's just there's better options. I don't use this. This is bad. Unblockable. Okay, moving on. Full crouch 3B plus K. I actually like this move. I sauced this in maybe like 0 to 1 time a game. This could really like pull the win out for you. It actually combos into critical edge, which is quite interesting, right? So you've got this, and so that is a play for you. It does about 80 damage if I recall correctly. Let's just check it out here. 84, yeah, 84 damage. So it's not bad. It's not bad, but in 5 this was a better mix-up because you used to be able to actually cancel this into just guard. So in 5 this move was way better than it is now, but not bad. I still sauced it in here and there. And like you can do this, but you used to have the option, is all I'm saying. You used to be able to just hit guard. But this transition I don't use. This is a little too slow for me. Um, yeah, I don't use this. This move, this is like day one stuff. I never use this. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but you can't really use this unless you're tech jumping a move. But again, just use 2-2K. Same thing with the stance. I don't use this very much. This is a great move, a fantastic move. This is a mix-up option off of 1A slide G. And it's one of the only ways that you're going to land the, or it's how you get extra damage off of one of your grabs, your 1A plus G grab. This is a fantastic move to mix up with this move. So together, these are both fantastic moves. Crybaby, Goe. Great move, Kappa. No, it's not good. Use it sparingly. Taunt. This taunt's garbage. You have to use the stance taunts because they actually generate meter. 8-way run. 6-6A is good. 6-6AB isn't bad. However, the A and A hold and the B follow-up are all kind of garbage. I don't use any of these. Unless the opponent's getting real cheeky, then sometimes I'll use this one if they'd like to sidestep, but even then. Careful with this. 6-6A, great. 6-6AB, great. The other stuff, garbage. Don't use it. 2-2A, it's plus on hit. It's plus 8 on hit. Like, it's mad plus on hit, but if you're gonna use this, why not just use 2-2B, right? That's kind of how I see this move. 4-4A, a lot of Xianghuas use just this. I personally use the hold version probably more than I should, but it's one of those hard read options that I love to go for. I think, depending on who you are and what you're doing, I'm just going to count this move as the same move, for argument's sake, as a player who uses the held version. I think this move is great. It's a tech duck, it's a step catcher, it's a horizontal, it leads to extra damage on counter hit. In the case of the charged one, it's a full combo, even just on regular hit, which is gross. Yeah, I think these moves are great. 6-6BB, this thing sucks. An opponent who knows the matchup will just always get out of this. That sucks. This sucks. This is the best, but it still sucks. This isn't bad if your opponent doesn't know they can sidestep and they're just GIing or reversal edging. Sure, go for it. But if your opponent is aware of the matchup, just stay away from this. If you're going to use any of them, just do 6-6B, because it's only -8. Just 6-6B. Don't GI. Don't use this. Just 6-6B. Call it a day. Just leave it. 2-2B, absolutely fantastic launcher. It's only -8 on block. You're sidestepping when you use it. It's probably one of the only sidestepping or while sidestepping launchers in the game. This is fantastic. Use it frequently. Even on block, it's great. It's a little stubby though, so just be careful. 4-4B, again, it's more of those utility attacks, not something you want to just spam, but in the matchups and the situations where it's good, it's fantastic. It can wall splat and ring out, keep that in mind, and it is an incredible attack when used correctly. This move is one of those moves that really shows game sense and game knowledge. This is how you can show your skill, using 4-4B appropriately. Great attack. This I never use because you're backstepping and then you're coming back in, and Xianghua wants to stay in. Why are you backing up again? It's -20 on block. This is not going to save you at the end of the day. This is not going to save you. I guess if you feel like it's do or die, sure, go for it, because there's no other option, but whatever. It's not worth your time. 6-6K, again, not bad. It used to be better. It's only -10. It is I-12, which is nice, but more of a combo filler or just a quick poke. It's nothing special. It's okay. 2-2K, I, again, use this move probably more than any Xianghua I've ever seen. It's +2 on block, it's +4 on hit. I just think it's gross. And then if you combo it with this, right, you're +2 in PXS on block, yes please, and you can get this. This is a true combo. Right, like this is gross. I love this. So I use this a lot. It shatters guard with little to no scaling, and that's what I love about it. And I use it a lot. So, yeah. I think this move is great, but I'm probably incorrect, and I'm probably being over-respected. But I don't think so. I actually quite love this, and it tech jumps almost immediately. This sequence, it's kind of garbage. I used to use it a bit. I used to think it was good, but then I realized how slow the hit from the mid actually comes out. Like if they block the low, they're going to reactively swat you or just sidestep the mid. There's no way this mid's gonna hit because you'll notice that it hits once the feet like kind of like, yeah, it's not very quick. If anything, I go for this. But even then, I just don't use these. I don't think they're very good. 6-6-A plus B raw, not great unless you're in soul charge even then. 6-6-A-B hold, fantastic combo filler. I never use this in neutral as it's -12 on block, so if you go into just kidding and you're -12, that's a mistake. That's a big problem, don't do that. So be careful with this, it's more of a combo filler. 2-2-B, A plus B, I never use this. -16 on block, 24 frame startup. Why use this when you have 2-2-B? Garbage move, don't bother. 4-4-A plus B, again, why use this when you have 4-4-A? Just don't bother. Unless you're going to cancel it. Then you can do that, because, you know, that's how you do this. Kappa. Anyway. This, sure, it's BHH raw, whatever. This is RBHH raw, okay, whatever. Her slide is great because she actually gets a guaranteed 6 BB off of it, which I will demonstrate for you. So that's nice. Grabs, the only one to really talk about here is just the Oki one here. Or, sorry, the command throw. Really, this just gives better Oki. It does a lot less damage than a regular grab. I believe it's 40. Yeah, 40, but it gives you better Oki. So that's the only reason you really want to use it. Other than that, I mean, she has, of course, the just frame kick. This leads to the highest damage option, whereas this is a lower damage option. However, it can ring out, so do keep that in mind. And it can also wall splat for some extra damage as well. This move sucks. This move sucks. Sucks. Not great. Garbage. This was like week 1 strats where people would over-respect it. This move, great. This move, not great. This move, garbage. Sure. Grabs. The grabs are great. Of course they are. This is great. I love this transition. I love that. You can go from one to the other. Best move in the game. Almost the best move in the game, and without a doubt the best move in the game. Oh shoot. Garbage. Not bad. Not bad. I actually use this a lot. I use this a lot actually on Oki. I can use this or the sidestep cancel. Or I just let it rip for the extra backstep, which is interesting. Yeah, I use this probably more than I should. I don't know, her stance moves aren't very good, so that's why I'm kind of just breezing through them. I never use this, because I've talked about I don't like her guard breaker at all. This is fine though. I'll use this here and there. So her lethal hits, all I want to touch on is that they all have to do with like GIs or good conditioning. So something like, you know, you've conditioned your opponents, you just vertical spam, you use this, right? Or if you're prone to using Crybaby on Oki, it's actually hysterical. I've done this a few times where you'll start getting the opponent to bite and they'll get hit by this lethal hit. It's great. I love it. If you ever get this done, good job. But this one is quite good. Full combo. And then lastly, I guess we have, well, I guess reverse ledge engage attacks. Reverse ledge, her round 1 options are just kind of trash, all of them. So round 1, I'm just gonna actually omit round 1. I'm not even gonna talk about it because it's just kind of, it's pretty throwaway. It's not special. However, her lethal hit options, the AB goes into some extra damage. The AA doesn't go into much. I'll just let it play out here. So AB can go into full combo. Right, 6-6 AB hold for critical edge. B goes into full combo, and K goes into full combo. Almost the exact same combo, actually. In the case of B, you get 6/6A plus B, hold. Just like that, right? And then in the case of K, you get 6B plus K, hold. Just like that. So her B and K options are great. Her A option, it's not bad, it's not great. I don't use it very frequently. And then lastly, just the gauge attacks. I think her soul charge is bad, but this, not great. It's minus 24 on block. You're suiciding yourself if you use this. AABB, not even a natural combo. AAB is, but the class B is not great. This is just awful. This isn't bad, but it's not going to hit people if they know the matchup, because remember that 6AA is its only or a low is 6A's only follow-up. So 6AKK is no different. It's the same problem. It's still a high-low. And you can go into the low-low, or you can go into the low-mid, but this again has the same problem as the regular non-soul charge move. So these are just still garbage. 3AA is not a natural combo, but it can catch people stepping or swatting if they're getting antsy, right? If you traditionally go 3A into PXS, this is a good way to catch people, and then you get a Wall Rising K into full combo extension. So this isn't bad, it's just hard to use. This is fine, it's just extra extension off BK, whatever. If you ever get an opportunity to use BK, you get the opportunity to use this. This is, yeah, whatever. This is great. This is a great, basically just take 6KA and upgrade it, you get 6K BB. It's that simple. Nothing more to say about that. This is a okay transition. I use it a lot, actually. But I don't think it's great, but I do use it a lot. This is fantastic. Mid-low, I like it a lot because it has the same thing, right? Where 1K or 1KA, it's that mid-mid or the mid-low mix-up. I love this. I don't use the AAB or any of that jazz, but I think that this and that is great. They're both good. This is disgusting. This does so much chip damage, it's not even funny. And I'd like to demonstrate that for you. So, it does 24 chip damage just with the last hit. So check this out. Look at that. Like, that was all the way down to the N on the name Xianghua on her health bar there. Look at that. That's gross. But you can sidestep the last hit, so it's not great. But if the opponent doesn't know that, it's pretty good. This is not great. It is not good. This doesn't give you anything. If this led into a stance, right? Like if this gave you something off the cancel, it might be worth looking at, but it doesn't, so don't bother. Like, you're suiciding on block, it's that simple. Because the 6/6B plus K is minus 12. The B follow-up is 30 frames. If you do some math, they have a huge window to punish you or sidestep you. All this means is she gets a GI. She doesn't actually get anything off of this, by the way, if the opponent happens to swing. This just makes most stance transitions safe. So keep that in mind, that when you're soul charged, you can start going for your stance more and more and more and more. Problem is the stance isn't all that threatening outside of kick and throw. So really, what is she gaining here? Nothing. This is great. This makes this move absolutely godlike. Just instantly tapping B is a free guard break grab mix-up as long as they block it. The full charge version's unblockable, sure, people are just going to sidestep it, whatever. But this is a great move in soul charge. This is like the sole reason why I soul charge. This and 6K BBB. Or BB, pardon me. That's the only two moves. Those are the only two moves. 6/6KK is not bad, but this is great. Her grabs have extra follow-up. Cool. I mean, why not? It makes the grab mix-up actually threatening, but remember that soul charge in the last 10 seconds, so really, can you even get this off before it wears out? I doubt it. All this means is that she actually goes down into PXS faster, it turns out. I didn't really understand the difference until recently, and that's all it is. And then her critical edge is great. And that does it for her moves list. Alright guys, that was quite long-winded. Thanks for sticking around, and if you just jumped kind of from part to part in the video, that's totally okay. Remember that there is a written document that goes alongside this. Basically, man, I love Xianghua, and I've played her as my main character all the way since Soulcalibur 2 when I was a kid. Yeah, I've dabbled with other characters, but honestly, she's kind of been the tried and true main the whole time. What I love about her so much is just how fluid she is, and I know that kind of has to do with her dancer lore and the water and all that jazz, but truly, I love just how smooth this character plays at a masterful level. You can really just dance on your opponent, literally and figuratively, and I love it so much. And at the end of the day, she is so good at just picking apart the opponent's game plan and punishing it while also breaking them mentally. It makes your opponent feel like they just can't do anything. And I love that. I think that is so strong and highly underrated. I think Xianghua is a mid-high tier character. I don't think she needs nerfs. I don't think she needs buffs. I think that this is the pinnacle of balance. And that comes back to that whole 5-5-6-4 argument that I was talking about with Xianghua. I think that she needs to be untouched. I think her soul charge is a bit weak, so I mean, if they could fix that, sweet, but they'd have to nerf something else. I think she needs to be left alone, at least at the time in this video. Yeah, no, she is a fantastic, well-rounded, balanced character. I cannot complain, and the low damage really is a non-issue because you know what you're getting into if you play Xianghua. You're not playing her for damage. You're playing her to be annoying and win the game that way. She's very read and condition heavy as well, so she has quite a high skill ceiling. More of a mental game high skill ceiling. For those of you who play Tekken, you'll know what I mean. Characters like Jack 7, right? Mechanically, really easy. Really, really easy. But he eventually whittles you down with jabs, pokes, and conditioning tools. So you could think of Xianghua as very similar to Jack 7 in that respect in Soulcalibur. All right. Thanks, guys. If you ever want to chat with me, please feel free to talk to me on Discord, talk to me on Twitter. Links for that will be in the description as well as the written guide. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.